Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Blend with Kimlee and Friends. I am your host, Kimlee King, celebrity makeup artist, and I am so excited about tonight because backed by popular demand, oh my gosh, is none other than Vernon Martin. That's right, Vernon Martin is here live, and he is going to we're going to flip the script. Flip. We flipping the script tonight, and actually Vernon is interviewing me, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so incredible. So I have no idea what he's going to ask me. We're coming straight off the cuff. We're doing a little bit of shop talk tonight. So if you're watching and you have a friend who is in the beauty industry, if you have someone that you know that's a hairstylist, makeup artist, nail tech, barber, make sure they're watching tonight. And it's not just for the beauty pro, but it's for all of you that are watching, because we want to talk about what we've been doing during pandemic and how we've been dealing with some of the things that have been rough, like anxiety, and some people have been dealing with depression and not knowing what's next. So it's going to be a really good show, and we want you to make this a watch party. So if you're watching right now, you're tuning in, listen, we're going to give you a moment just to jump on in. I want you to make this a watch party. Like, comment, share all night, because we need to know what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and if you have questions, we want you to let them scroll, because maybe we'll be able to answer them. So listen, make it a watch party. It's going to be live and lit. We're just waiting. Vernon is in backstage in the green room. I'm sure he's back there having a wonderful time listening to the music. But Vernon Martin, are you here and are you ready?
I am here. Here.
Hey,
Hey, Kim.
Hi, Vernon.
How you
Welcome
doing?
to the show.
Thank you. Excuse my appearance. I did not have time to go home and change and get ready, so you're going to have to deal with me like this. I'm still in the salon.
You look amazing as usual.
Oh,
and guess what? So many people wish they were you and they could be in a salon. So I know that you have gotten all your things in order. I'm excited about what we're going to talk about tonight, because the last time we were on, we had thousands of people watching us, and everybody was just so excited about our life together and all the things that we've been able to share. And so tonight we're going to just do a little different. We flipping the script.
Yes.
You're interviewing me.
We're flipping the script.
I love it.
How are you all doing? All Kimlee, beautiful. What you call them? Your
The pretty committee.
The pretty committee. How y'all doing? Yes. So Miss Lee, how are you doing? Let me ask you that first.
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I am pivoting, and just enjoying this time of recreation. This has been a great time for the artists. I mean, I know we haven't been able to get the income that we're used to, but it's been a time of rediscovery. It's been a time for us to just kind of stretch ourselves a bit, because naturally we do what we do well and we're creative. And so now it's time for us to recreate ourselves and to be able to withstand all of the challenges that our country and the world has actually had to endure, which is a pandemic. So yeah, there's no way to get around it.
So what are you doing to recreate? What are you doing to recreate yourself, to keep yourself from falling down that rabbit hole? What are you doing?
So, I was really initially, when pandemic began, I was very much in shock. I think that shock factor hit me first, and Vernon, touching people is my love language. It's my way to exhale. It's, when I'm having my worst days, after I finish doing a face, I feel my best. Just being around my comrades like you and Aisha and Quentin and all of you all at the salon, and all of my friends who are salon owners, who we've been friends over 20 years. You guys are my outlet, you know what I mean? And so not being able to spend quality time with you all and with my clients, it was rough. It was rough. I think with anyone, anything that you have done, more than 21 days becomes a habit. So if you have habitually been in someone's face, touching someone's, skin, or in your case, hair, and then you don't for 3 weeks, then 4 weeks, then 6 weeks, and now we on week 16, it's rough. It's rough, and it takes some adjustment. I think those first, 3 weeks, I think everybody was in shock, but after the shock factor, now you got to reevaluate. It's like, okay, this is my reality. This is what it's going to be. And I gotta recreate myself. And so that's kind of where I am right now, knowing that I might not be able to touch people as much, but I have to touch them in other ways. So what I've been doing is I've been really creating products. I've been finding a need, listening to my clients, my customers. They're telling me that they're home and they haven't wanted to wear a lot of makeup, but sometimes they have to because they're on these Zoom calls. And so I've been trying to create product that I know that they will love, that will be beneficial, like skincare. So I've created a really wonderful line of skincare. I created some home candles and all that. And I don't want to get ahead of you with your questions, but I just been creating what people need and what they want. So that's been fun. That's been fun.
So what advice, like what would you tell that person, Kim, who is struggling with recreating, being that person who can't seem to get focused, can't get their footing, and they feel as though maybe they don't have the following you have, or they don't have the following I have, or they can't seem to grasp what it is that they need to do to make extra money, or whatever, or maybe even have the money to do what you've done. What advice could you have given them, or what should they have done to not prepare themselves, because we all know we weren't prepared.
We were not.
Right. But what could they have done to later prepare themselves for what was to come? Because we none of us knew we would be off for 3 months.
Right.
What I mean?
Right.
So what could they have done to help them along, or what can they do? Because even though we're still in the pandemic, but even though we're not in the house, we're still at work. So what advice would you give to them? Because there's some people who just don't have the faith or belief that you have.
So that's a 2 or 3 part question. So I'm
yeah,
gonna
it is
quickly as I guess as efficiently as I can. But number one, the first thing I would do is to tell them to disconnect. They need to disconnect from social media for a moment and just take an opportunity to just kind of rediscover who they are and what it is that they love. Everything you need is in your house. When I say that, I mean inside of you. Everything that you're made of, everything that you called to be. And I don't want to make this a sermon, but it's just what it is. And for those of you that are watching, if whatever you need is inside of you. And so what I would tell anyone, if you are in the service industry, to create an extension of you is always going to be helpful and beneficial. If you don't have the finance to create an extension of you, what does an extension of you look like? If you are a person who, you make cakes, and now cakes, nobody is coming to your bakery to buy cakes. Maybe you are, showing them how to make the cakes. You're teaching classes, or you're delivering cakes to people's houses. There's a way, and this is just for the service provider, anyone that's providing a service, whether you're hair, makeup, wardrobe, you cook, you do, whatever it is that you do, making and creating an extension of you, so that when you cannot touch the person, you can have a piece of you in their hand. I think that's what is going to be preeminent right now. They're talking about us having a second wave of pandemic. So now is the time to try to prepare. For those who are just kind of wondering, like, what does that look like? Like, how do you find that out? Every great invention was invented because someone saw a need, and when they saw the need, they created a remedy for it, right? It's so think about the whole issue with cabs. People didn't want to ride in cabs because the fares were high, and it was hard to call a cab. So now they make a concierge type service where they have cabs, which are Ubers. So Uber, they saw the need and they created a solution. When you think about hotels and the price of hotels, how high they are, and people not being able to get a hotel sometimes at big events. Then here we have Airbnb. And so what happens is that you have to see where there is a problem and create a solution. And so even if that means something small, like people who have been in the house, all of my friends that have restaurants have been delivering food to people's homes. They've been selling them full meals, full out meals. Now that may mean, okay, I got to work extra hard because now I got to drive it to their house, or I have to buy the containers to put the food in. I think they were also coming up with strategy because they knew people would be sitting in the house on their rump, getting all this Rona weight, right? Because I done
Right.
got me Rona weight, okay? And so now they're creating ways for people to have food plans, so you eat this many calories and I'm going to cook it for you. And so they found they saw the need and they met the need. And so that's what we have to remember as creatives, as entrepreneurs, that it is the time for us to find what we can give to the world as an extension of our gift and talent. How can we sell it? I mean, something as simple. If you're a hairstylist, you're like, look, I don't have the money to buy wigs, but maybe you could create some wig spray. Maybe you could create some wig glue. Maybe you could create some shampoo for the natural girls. Like, there's something that you can do to create something that the world needs, or the people that follow you needs. Even if it's not, you don't have to have 65. I don't know how many thousands of followers I have on Instagram, but nonetheless, the way the algorithm works, whether I have 90,000 followers, only about 500 people see. Not, they say 10% of your followers see, so maybe 900 people may see it, right? And out of the 900 people, you got to scale that down. Maybe only 10% of those people are going to go to your website, and then only 10% of those people may purchase. So you're talking about going from 90,000 people down to about 90 people, and only 9 people really buying the product. So that means you have to constantly be promoting your business. That's going to also be very, very important. But the first thing I'm going to say, that if we could recap, the first thing I would say to do is to disconnect from social media, because sometimes we're watching what other people are doing. And while we're watching them, Vernon, we forget that we got our own talent. We got our own gift. And we'll look at somebody else's work or somebody else's achievements or accomplishments and feel like we should be doing that. And that might not be the case. Right. What you might be doing is just fine. And it could be that small thing that blows up into something big and wonderful.
Yeah, I came in and we're doing wigs the whole time. And a lot of people were like, how did you do that? How did you, go back in the salon and do that? And I was like, I got up and I did it. I had to soak for a while. I went through a little thing and I was like all in my head. And then when I came in here and did it, I wound up making a mint doing that. Everybody, because all the women had to do, like you say, Zoom calls. And I created wigs, made wigs, took hair that I had in here, made a wig, did whatever I had to do, to get it done. So that's good. You're doing great things. I saw your candles. I was very impressed.
Thank you.
The new skincare line, I was very impressed, which leads me to asking you, even though we've been going through this, how is there advice you would give someone? Because this is the prime example of when people say they always want what you have until they have to work for it. So you being a business, you're a conglomerate now, basically. So being that Kim Lee conglomerate, if you had to give some people who are getting a little discouraged and wanted to become self-employed like you, what would you tell them right now with everything that's going on? What advice would you give to that young person who wants to be like Kim Lee, or who wants to be some type of, like Kim Lee, an entrepreneur what would you tell them?
If they're trying to be an entrepreneur in the beauty industry?
Yes. You know what? Actually, anything, because you're still to me, and not because I love you. Everything you're doing, you're a speaker, you're a first lady, you're a preacher, you're an event. I mean, you're everything. You have your makeup line, you have your candles. You are a brand in itself. You are an example of what a brand is. Okay, so you have people who want to do that, who want to be that, and they may have gotten a little discouraged from what's going on now. So what would you tell them if someone came to you and say, well, I've been watching you for a while and I want to be that person. I want to have my own brand and conglomerate and do things, whether it's in beauty, whether it's in candles, whether it's in whatever, but they might have gotten a little thrown off by what's going on now. And
Yeah.
you always seem like you know what you're doing, and you always say the right thing. So I'm depending on you to help that person. If it's only one person you get through to, what would you tell them right now?
What I would tell them is, again, to dig deep
Mm-hmm.
and write down exactly what their goals were. If
Mm-hmm.
you say you want to be an entrepreneur, one of the things to do is to establish a brand, establish a logo, establish what it is that you're trying to sell, and find out who your demographic is. Who
Mm-hmm.
is your demographic? What exactly do they need? What I have done is I've incorporated beauty from mind, body, and soul. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been it's a great pairing or marriage, because women understand and recognize more now more than ever before that beauty is so much more than makeup, but it has everything to do with what's inside. Now, in doing that, I've been challenged with recreating the inside of who I am, recreating
Mm-hmm.
my mindset, recreating my heart space, recreating my spirit life. Um, and so, just in doing that, it takes some work. It's going to take a little bit of work, but if you're willing to do the work in creating your brand, creating a logo, and sticking to it, I mean, every day you have to be consistent. You can't get tired. Always, I learned this when I was working for Mac. They said if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. Like, we always worked. It was never a time where we were leaning on the counter and chilling.
Mm-hmm.
We literally were cleaning lipsticks, or we were shaving them, or we were organizing, or we were putting, it was always something to do. And that mindset stuck with me when I decided to become an entrepreneur. I said, listen, there's always something to do. And working in entertainment took it up a notch, because now it comes to the point where now it's a spirit of excellence. So I'm not always just doing something, but I'm doing something in excellence. And when I say that, not perfection, because perfection is overrated. Perfection will prevent you from doing anything. Perfection will make you sit on an idea. Perfection will make you put it under the shelf, because you'll say, I don't have the money and it don't look like Kim's. Perfection will make you do that. You can't do that. You just have to do it, and you have to do it every day. And those moments when people are telling you that the product is not right. Like, somebody gave me a bad review today. They called me and they said, Kim, I don't like this color because I don't like this. And I said, okay, I appreciate that. And the reason why I appreciated it is because it helps me to grow. It helps me to grow. So you can't be afraid of criticism. I just saw Jackie Hicks, our girlfriend, is a good friend, is on here. It is
Jackie.
important to educate yourself. And that is very true. A lot of people want to jump out and do what we do. There really is no time frame. I don't like when people say, well, you've only been doing makeup, 5 months. How you gonna start teaching classes? I can't tell somebody when they should start teaching
Yeah.
classes, because there's not a manual that says when you should start teaching classes. But I do know that it does take time to educate yourself. You do need to learn about the industry, because people want to, they need to know more than just talent. Here's the thing. Hey, Rochelle, and Rochelle can attest to this. It's a very small portion of what you do that's good, that makes people buy. It's the experience. It's all of the other things that comes with the whole experience of them purchasing from you, right? So yes, you're good at what you do. Of course, they want a good cake. They want pretty clothes. Whatever it is you're selling, it has to be good. But talent is a small part of it.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize. It's more than just talent, Vernon. It has everything to do with all of the follow-up. It has everything to do with customer service. It has everything to do with all of the other elements that go into running a business.
Mm-hmm.
And so, although I'm working on my craft and I'm taking it very, very seriously, and I'm perfecting that, and I'm still taking, mental note of what people are doing. I'm still watching YouTubes, guys. I'm still looking at younger artists and figuring out what's hip and what's new and fresh, because when somebody young comes to me, I want to be able to still be able to duplicate that look.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the follow-up. It's also your professionalism. It's how you how you present yourself. There's so many other qualities that go into it that I think sometimes people forget, and they focus on one area. And what they have to understand is being an entrepreneur is multidimensional. It has a lot to do with your marketing, your PR, and you can do this yourself. Okay, if you got this, your phone, this is your tool, this is your instrument. There are apps, there's social media. You know, before Vernon, when we first started doing hair and makeup, you know, we had word of mouth. We had flyers.
It was word of mouth.
Yeah, it was word of mouth.
Remember comp cards? And we had comp cards.
We had comp cards. Now you got free resources at your fingertips. If you got a smartphone, be smart and utilize it, and get on here and do look at some of the apps. And maybe you have to create. I know Canva is a great resource. I use Canva often to make flyers. Sometimes you're going to have to make your own flyer. You might not have $55 or $75 or $100 to pay a graphic artist, and you might not have the time. If you've come up with some great invention and you want to be able to promote it and say, hey, this is new to my brand, you know, you might just run on Canva. Canva is an app. It's free. You can go on Canva and create, you know, all kind of messages to be able to share with your customer. So not only are you educating yourself on your craft, you are making sure that you created this brand and you're staying consistent with it, and you're doing something every single day. People want to believe you. Listen, Rochelle told me this last year when I was speaking at Ubiquitous. And I told Rochelle, I said, Rochelle, I need to come up with about $5,000 to speak at Ubiquitous. She said, why? I said, because the way they have me seated at Ubiquitous, where my booth is, I am in, you know, the Monopoly board where you at Park Place? I'm in Park Place, okay? I am literally, when you walk in the door of Ubiquitous, next to the Housewives of Potomac, next to the Housewives of Atlanta. The owner of Ubiquitous has looked out, okay? So I need to have a fabulous booth. I need to raise about $5,000 to do that. I priced it all. I called Rochelle. I said, what should I do? Rochelle said, there are people who believe in you. I said, who? She said, Kim, all these people that follow you, let's don't even start with the followers. Start with your friends. There are 10 people right now that believe in you. I said, okay. She said, so ask 10 of them for the money.
Right.
I said, ask 10 people for $500. And they'll give it to you. And I said, you think so? So it was funny because she had to talk me off the ledge because I almost did not ask.
Right.
I almost did not ask out of pride. I almost did not ask because of doubt and because of fear. Because it's so funny, as advanced as people think that I am, I have those moments of doubt. Like, you think somebody really will believe in me?
What? But you know what's so funny? It goes into my, I don't want you to go there because you're going to mess up my next question.
Okay.
Because my next question actually, which is, how do you know? Oh, hi Didi, my god sister Didi, keep answering us. How do you know when that voice, when you come up with these ideas or you come up with this strategy or whatever? How do you know? And you being a woman of God, how do you know when it's God that's giving you that little extra, you know, telling you that, or is it just you doing something you just want to do? You know, do you wait on God? How do you know you're waiting on God to give you the advice to go on? And once you come up with the idea, how do you know? When do you listen to that voice?
So my ear is, you know, the more time I spend with God, the more sensitive my ear is to his voice. And you can't know God apart from his word. And so nowhere in the word does it say wink and pout, right? You need to launch wink and pout. But what the word does let me know is that God will take your room. He will take your gift and make room for it and bring it before great men. And I have to depend on that scripture because I know that he's going to take my gift and bring it before great men. So what is that gift? I know I have the gift of creativity. I know God has called me to create. And so the Bible tells us that in the beginning, God created. And he created the heavens and the earth from nothing. And so even if I have nothing in my pocket, nothing in my house, nothing here in my office, I know that I can create because if God created, I can create it because I am part of him. I am a child of his. And so I lean on God to help me to create. So when things download, when God starts downloading to me, and it's weird because he does it in the middle of the night. When God starts to download to me, I immediately start writing it down, because those dreams and those visions and those things that God gives you, those are God-given things. I'm
Mhm.
telling you,
Yeah.
because God is He is the creator.
Right.
Okay, so when you start getting creative thoughts and downloads like that, the thing to do is to write them down. Now, what for me is key is timing.
Mm.
It's timing. So sometimes it's not the time. So the download is still relevant. It's still going to happen, but it's not the time. And so
Mhm.
I always have to pray about the time, never about the download, because I know that the creativity comes from Him. It doesn't come from me.
Right.
I am likening it to His image, and God is creative. So I am creative, and I stand on that. And I know that all those downloads come from Him. So I'm always excited when He gives me this great idea. I'm always like, that's right. Oh, God, my God, I'm like losing it. And I write it down and I say, okay, God, so when? When
Mm.
should I create it and how should I roll it out? I rolled out things too quick ahead of God, and they didn't work. And I
Mhm.
was overwhelmed. I waited too long and didn't roll out things because I was afraid, and I
Mhm.
missed opportunities. And so, what I've learned to do is to really just hone in on His voice and hear Him when He says, go.
Mm.
When God says, go. Like, and here's the thing, Lord, I thank you. When God says go, just like He did with Gideon, it's usually when you don't have a whole lot. It's usually
Mhm.
when you don't have a lot of people. It's usually
Right.
when the people that you thought you were going to have don't show up. It's
Mhm.
usually when God says go, you have to go, because faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And so that faith has to kick in. When God says go, you got to go. When God told you to go in that salon and start making those wigs with no help, and you were just in there sewing and stitching, and then you just had to do. God said go. When He said
Mhm.
get that hair that you got in there and take that little and make it much, God said go.
Like
That's
the woman with
examples of go.
like the
Because
woman with the oil.
like the woman with the oil.
Like the
And when
woman.
He tells you gotta go, and He told her with that oil, He said, listen, and here's the thing, God would have continued to pour if she had more jars. She just had ran out of jars.
Yeah.
He kept on,
She took
literally,
that
He
little
keeps
bit of oil.
expanding. It's like
Some-
He keeps expanding. And so we have to literally say, okay, God, if you're still pouring and you're still giving and you're still providing opportunity for me, then I got to look around. And so I had to do what Rochelle said and say, hey, look,
Mhm.
God is pouring. He's
Mhm.
pouring. He's pouring. He's pouring. He's making opportunity for me to be able to expand. And so, in order for me to expand, I got to ask. So I started asking. I did what Rochelle said. Lady Rochelle said, Kim, ask your friends. You got 5 friends that give you $500. I mean, 10 friends that give you $500. And people started giving me money. And literally, I had overflow. People were giving me money. You gave me a seed. I think Quentin gave me a seed. Like, people
Mhm.
were literally pouring into my bosom. And I can't tell you how thankful I am. And that event was a huge success, but I had to trust God. The
Mhm.
second thing I would tell you, because I know that was a long first, and this is going to be quick, you have to be careful who you align yourself with. I align myself with people who are literally as God fearing, if not more than me, whose
Mhm.
faith takes me far beyond I could even tell you. There are
Right.
people, I see one of my girlfriends on here, Marilyn, she's one of my prayer partners. Like, literally, I have to align myself with people who believe
Mhm.
beyond me. That's going to be important. So that's the second thing. And an extension of that is there are so many for women, especially if you're a woman and you're watching this, there's so many groups of women who have partnered together. Partnership is amazing. And I'm part of a network of women called CEO Chicks, which has been very helpful. I know Rochelle, if she's still on here, she teaches six figure. I forgot the name of her course, but she teaches courses. Marilyn's on here; she teaches courses. You have to align yourself with women who are going in the same direction with you as it
Mhm.
relates to business, and men as well. You have to align yourself. A lot of times you're doing it by yourself. You don't have to.
Mhm.
Jesus didn't have to walk with 12 because He could have done it alone. But He walked with 12 to show us camaraderie. He walked with the 12 to show us how to get along and how to take the giftings of those that are around you to be able to multiply. Okay. And so he had one, that was a tax collector. He had one that was a fisher. He had one, that did other things. And so when you have all of these people that are around you, but the goal is that we're going in the same direction. We're following Christ. So we're doing Christ-like things. And we're making mistakes along the way. And we're not perfect, but we're in alignment. And I try to stay aligned with people and women and just you, like men, women, whoever. But I'm part of this network of women who we're all CEOs. Mm-hmm. We're not just business women. We're CEOs. Like we're running a bona fide business with employees. We're running a business where we're scaling, which means our business is growing, and we have products, and we have websites, and we have e-commerce, and so we have. So I wanted to be part of a network where the women weren't just like. And it's levels to it. It's no shape, it's levels. And so I wanted to be part of a network of women who understood exactly where I was, where in order for me to scale, I have to be able to say, hey, look, I need to get some venture capitalists. I need to be able to be aligned with, some bigger entities. My girlfriend, Arian Simone, she called me and said, Kim, I want you to fly down to Atlanta. And I didn't post this, but I want you all to know this. Back in September, I flew down to Atlanta. And there's a company called Spanx. I think a lot of the women watching this is called Spanx. And I pitched my business to Spanx because they were giving away $100,000 grant to a business to help them to scale their business. And I had never pitched my business. I only told a few people about what I was doing. And I remember Jackie's daughter helped me to pitch my business. Jackie's daughter, Alexis. I called Alexis. I said, Alexis let me stay at her house. I went to Alexis' house again, this partnership. Called her. She said, yeah, come, Auntie Kim, stay with me. And I was so nervous. And Alexis helped me write my presentation out. I had never written one out. But let me tell you something, Vernon. It was probably the worst day of my life because I was afraid. I was scared. I was shaking. I had no idea what to expect, but it was an opportunity that I could not pay for again. I never, ever want to ever miss those kind of opportunities. And that came from alignment, being aligned with someone. And so Arian is a venture capitalist. She gives people hundreds of thousands of dollars to fund their business. And I said, Arian, I'm going to come and I'm going to pitch my business. And I made it to the second round. I couldn't believe it, but I made it to the second round. And I stayed and I watched people leave that competition. It was 5,000 people who entered that competition. And I made it down to 500.
Wow.
I made it down to 500. And when they started, actually, I made it down to, I think, 250. I think it was 250 of us that made it to the end. And I watched people leave because they were frustrated because they didn't win the pitch contest. And I said, I'm staying till every single person pitches. I didn't fly down here to Atlanta to play games. I want to hear how they pitch. I want to hear what it takes to pitch your business. I want to know why they won. And I stayed to the very last person. And the girl who won, she should have won because her business was so off the chain. She's in Costco right now. Her iced teas are in Costco. And I was so proud of her, but I wanted to hear what she did. And so that alignment is important. And sometimes we isolate because we feel like, my business is not as good as hers or it's not as far as hers. But the reality is you need to stay connected to other entrepreneurs who are trying to do what you do. They're trying to scale their business so the world can have access to them, right? And so that's what I did. And so I encourage people to find those networks of businesses and align yourself with them. Take classes. Like I said, there are a lot of opportunities. Sometimes be so busy on social media. Social media has perpetuated people to have ADD, honey, because you just scrolling all day. Scroll. Sometimes you need to stop and say, hey, this is some good, valuable information. Instead of me looking at outfits and cars and shoes, maybe I need to see what somebody's talking about that's going to help me to grow. And so that's what I encourage. I know that was long, but it's the truth.
That's okay. That's what we're here.
It's the truth.
We want to get into the mind of Kim Lee. We want to you interview so many people and you get their opinions on things. I want people to hear what I hear on a regular. So that was perfect. I love the God keeps expanding. You need to put that on a t-shirt. That's another business. God keeps expanding. God expands. What is success to you? You know, everybody has their own opinion on what success is. What is success to Kim Lee? What is success?
So let me say this as quickly as I can say, because you going deep. So I'm gonna be honest with you. It was about 8-9 years ago. I was away in a foreign country with a A-list artist shooting a movie, and I was probably making the most money I'd ever made at that time. And I, had worked with some, all these great A-listers, and I, just launched Wink and Pout, and all this other kind of stuff, and I had a house and a car and a baby and the fence and a dog and all the things that people deem to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the most unhappy I'd ever been. And the reason why I was so unhappy is because I'd worked on everything but my mind. I worked on my soul. So I was spiritually, you can't be so heavily minded that you're no earthly good. I had worked on my craft.
I like that.
Yes.
Say it again. Say it again.
You can't be so heavily minded.
They ain't hear you.
You can't hear me.
No, I'm playing. I said, say it again. They ain't hear you.
I said, you can't be so heavily minded that you're no earthly good. And so I had worked on my spirit, and I could pray, I could preach and all that. And I had worked on my craft, but I was so unbalanced. And people have to remember that you are made up of mind, body, and soul. And so my mind, I had not worked on it. And when I say that, I meant I had not forgiven myself of some things. I hadn't forgiven other people of some things that they had done to me. I was hard on people and hard on myself, and I was judgmental, and I was, so many negative things that caused me to not be happy, right? So when you ask me what success is when you are balanced. And that balance takes work. It takes work because when you're balanced, everything comes into alignment. The Bible says that the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein. So all of this belongs to him. And if I trust him, I have to remember that the Abrahamic promises of God belong to me. That he said that he would bless me in the city and in the field. That means he'll bless me close and far. He's going to bless me around people and by myself. Like if you take it from the literal sense and you make it figurative, however you want to do it, he's going to bless me. He's going to bless me amongst people in the marketplace. He's going to bless me. He's going to do these things. And I just have to remember that. But if I am not balanced, then none of that's going to happen. So money going to come. As long as I serve and believe, and I do, and I follow principle, because when you follow principle, you don't need miracles. My husband taught me that years ago. When you follow principles, you don't need miracles. And so you follow principle, you trust God, right? And you're balanced. That's when you're successful. Because everything else is a formula to successful salvation. There is a formula to it. And so the formula to it is to be balanced. And that imbalance happens when we put more time into one area. And that is what I was guilty of. Vernon, how many times have we been in the shop 18 hours and put no effort into the body? Your body you haven't eaten right. I haven't slept. All these kinds of things. And so it requires balance. And I think that just understanding balance in your life, because your balance is not my balance.
Right.
Our balance is different. Some people, my husband teases me because my husband can spend time with God. He can spend 15, 20 minutes and he got a full download because he's poured out and he's emptied. So he's ready to receive me. I got to break through and, hey, God, I almost said you. I got to go through all that. It take me an hour before I can press in. And then once I press in, and I got all my thesauruses out, as he said, I got about 17 Bibles and all this other kind of stuff. And he like, you got to do all that? I'm like, I do. So my press is different from yours. You know what I mean? And but balance is what we all have to work on. being real, we all have to work on balance, and it's something that you're going to do the rest of your life. Because when new things happen, right?
Mhm.
This is for new mothers that are watching. I know we probably have some more mature women on here. You already like, little girl, my children grown. But maybe you have an ailment, maybe it's sickness, or maybe, you have a sick spouse, or maybe, you lost your job. So your responsibility shift, right? And your
Mhm.
balance seems to shift. So you might be spending more time in one area than others, but you have to find a way to create that balance in your life so that you can feel successful, because that's when you don't feel successful, because you're looking at yourself like, I want to look like her, or I wish my spirit was like hers, or I wish my business was like his. And that's because you're imbalanced.
Mhm.
Once you're balanced and you're like, okay, I'm cool with where I am, with every state I am. The Bible says to be therefore content. So when I am content, I'm content knowing that God has ordered my footsteps, right? And so although I might not be walking at the pace of one of my friends and my counterparts who does just what I do, but my footsteps are ordered. And so it
Mhm.
may take me 6 months. It may take her 6 weeks. But I know if I trust God enough, I have to know that in trusting Him, that it is going to come. And so that's what I mean by, so my spirit is aligned with Him. My
Mhm.
body is aligned, and all those things. So the balance is what's needed in order to be successful.
Success.
Otherwise, you're never going to feel successful.
You actually have a lot of good points. I hope that you, I see they come across, but I hope you repost them by themselves on your page because they're actually really good points.
Thank you.
The short versions.
The short version.
The short versions. So that kind of leads me into this. This is going to be this is going to be a long one. It's going to be interesting to you because we've been doing hair and makeup for over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And together, damn, that's excuse me, people, over 50 years together. So there has been I can't wait to hear your opinion on this, actually. I'm dying to hear this. A misuse of a couple of words, okay?
Okay.
And us being people who have been doing this for as long as we have, to all the accomplishments that we've, achieved, all the hard work we've put in, what is your opinion of the words icon and legend? Because I mean, now everybody uses the word. Oh, they're just an icon. Oh, they're a legend. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear people say it all the time, but they misuse both words. But I want to know how you feel about that. What are your opinion on that, on the use of those words?
Well, I'm going to keep
And hold up, because I know you're gonna go for it. And when do you feel they should be used? What is deserving of those? Who is not saying that, and people, before we get cursed out and who we think I'm not saying that Kim, but this is I want her opinion. This is her opinion. So I want to know from you, how do you feel about those words, and do you feel that people misuse them? And just go for it.
we have a lot of let me walk gingerly. We have a lot of self-proclaimed legends and what was the other word you called them?
Icons.
Icons. We have some self-proclaimed legends and icons. For me, a legend and an icon is someone who is untouchable and unreachable. I still consider people like Janet an icon, and Madonna and Michael Jackson, of course, Prince. Those are icons and legends. They've accomplished things that are usually unaccomplished. People, the normal person cannot accomplish. They're not everyday accomplishments.
So you
These
think they're the
are
same thing?
hmm?
You think they're the same thing?
Icon and legend.
Uh-huh. Would you
Yes, because I feel if you're iconic, you become a legend. I do believe, I think they go hand in hand for sure. But I think that these are accomplishments again that surpass the average. You are above average. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, most people are average at best. My husband says it all the time. People are average at best. An icon is above average. A legend above average. They're
Mhm.
one-hit wonders. They're literally they achieve
You said they're
accomplish,
not one hit wonders.
huh?
You said they're not one hit wonders.
No, they're not one-hit wonders.
Okay.
That's what I meant to say. They're not one-hit wonders. They're people who have accomplished things again that most will never accomplish. I mean, they're in a class by themselves. They can't be touched. They can't be duplicated. They can't. They are trailblazers. They are unique. They are fearless. They are they have recreated themselves. Icons typically transcend trends. They transcend decades of trends and fashion and whatever craft they have. They're able to move past all of that and start something new. And when that's what I mean by trailblazer. I think that's the best way I can describe it. And I think that some people, unfortunately, if you think you run in that category,
Uh-huh.
if you think you run in that category, I mean, I can't tell you that you don't, but I when I think about legends and icons, and
You are tiptoeing. You are
I'm
tiptoeing.
tiptoeing. I'm
But you
tiptoeing.
haven't tiptoed this whole conversation. Don't tiptoe. Don't tiptoe.
Yeah,
Tell the
I
truth.
think I think people equivocate likes and followers to being iconic, and it's not iconic for me. And that's just the bottom line. If you want me to get dirty with it, because you have 100,000 followers or 250,000 followers, and you created, that you've created because of whatever, because you took your clothes off, or you were half naked. Let me pull myself together. Because all these things, that's not iconic for me. It's just not iconic for me. When Whitney was alive and I had an opportunity to talk to her last days, I told this story so many times, but she was standing in the window in the trailer, and it was thousands of people outside the trailer while we were waiting for her to go on stage. And she said, and I'm talking about Whitney Houston when I say Whitney, for anybody that's watching. And I said, Whitney, she said, Kim, who are all these people screaming for? I said, they screaming for you. And she said, what? Why?
Mm-hmm.
I said, because you got 31 number one hits.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
Right.
You got 30. Like, sometimes you gotta be reminded. And I don't know what it is that some people feel like, and that's for people. You got one or two hits, and I don't mean like a radio hit. You did one or two great things, but that'll make you an icon. Right. She had 31 international hits.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty iconic, So I don't know that there's a book to be able to qualify you to say, okay, according to the book on page 6, you don't become an icon until you got this many followers and you've did this many heads. No, I just think that is something that you work hard for, and it takes time to accomplish.
Right.
It just does. It doesn't happen in 5 years or 2 years. I think you become an icon when you put that work in.
Mm-hmm.
You put that work in.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. What are you?
No, I was walking light, right?
Yeah. What are you most grateful for?
Wow. Today, I think my gratitude changes from day to day, but today I'm grateful for my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
I am grateful that we are alive. We watched so many people did not make it through this last 3 months. I'm grateful for recreation. I'm grateful that God has sustained us in the midst of a pandemic. When so many people I watched, and I don't want to cry, but I saw on the news. Vernon and I, we watch the news all day. I saw thousands of people in the unemployment line, and I thought to myself, how blessed we are to be able to use our hands to to be able to give people with what we do, and people to trust us enough to buy it and appreciate it. And you got people who stand in line who don't have that, and so I'm grateful for that.
Right. I know that's right.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that's right. I love it. I love it. You did beautiful.
Thank you.
Good. You did good. I had a couple of more, but we great go into the we got 10 minutes or
Yes,
not. I can't see.
we got 10 minutes,
We
brother.
got 10 minutes. We do?
We got
Okay.
10 minutes.
So what's next for Kim Lee?
Got,
What can we expect? What's next for Kim Lee?
wow, that's hard to say. I think I'm expanding the business, the e-commerce. We're expanding product. I am trying to. I was exploring the idea of opening up a store, because and I'm working on some contactless makeup methods now with a web designer. And so I'm working on some revolutionary things with makeup right now, so that I'm able to service people without touching them. And so, yeah, that's what I'm working on. What's next? I've been prompted to write another book.
Okay.
But I still want to get this book into the hands of 5,000 women before the year's end. And so I have quite a ways to go. But I do believe God can do it. And so that's my goal, is for women across the world to buy the book. I was in traffic the other day, and I got cussed out by like 3 different women. They were just being anxious, like just, and I drive pretty fast, like, and they were just bawling, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, we still ain't learned.
Mm-hmm.
It's women like that, who are still just anxious and hasty and and I could be that way too. I think we all can. We want what we want when we want it. But when we're not being kind and nice, and we got to work on ourselves. And so I want to get this book into the hands of 5,000 women. I've had to myself go back and read my own book. On the days I'm not, kind to myself and kind to others, and I have rough moments. I got to go back and read chapter 8 and chapter 6 and chapter 3. I'm like, what did I say about that? Like, why am I feeling like this today? And I don't think people understand that esteem is something that is ongoing. No matter who you are, you're gonna have to work on your esteem every day. It's just like, you work out at the gym, or you perfecting your craft. You gotta work on your esteem every single day. So I give you 10 tips in my book as to how to work on your esteem and how to keep it fortified, fresh, and vibrant, and so that you are not, you're not in pain, meaning mental pain. And that's real. That's real. Depression is real. Low self-esteem is real. Anxiety is real. And a lot of those things are happening because we're in our minds, we're thinking things that are not actually real and true. So my goal, what's next for Kim, is to get these books into the hands of women. I'm gonna write this book as prompted by God, but it ain't time yet. It ain't gonna be time for the release. So while we got some downtime, I'll be writing some more stuff for the next round of book release. But for now, I really want to get this book into the hands of every woman that's watching, so that she can just be able to understand exactly what brain beauty is. The name of the book is called Brain Beauty. And that's what's most important. That's what's really most important, is getting that message out. And then also just getting this next level of Wink and Pout together. So that's what's next for us.
So, in conclude, because we got about 6 minutes, this is something that probably can bless a lot of women on here, whether they're single or whether they're married. And sometimes people look at you and they say you have it all. They don't know what the backstory or whatever. They don't know what the nights you've cried, or the nights you fell to your knees and just ask God to just, He had to grab you by your forearm and pick you up and say, So Kim Lee, the mother, Kim Lee, the grandmother, Kim Lee, the wife, Kim Lee, the evangelist, Kim Lee, the prayer warrior, Kim Lee, the author. You're an author. I never even said that out my mouth. Kim Lee, the author. you know,
Wow.
Emily, the CEO. What, how do you, what advice could you give a woman who feel her knees buckling a little bit right now? Um, Trying to be all of those things and be everything to everybody. You know, be a friend to that, be that friend, be that entrepreneur, be that wife, be that mother, be that grandmother. You know, what would you say to them right now that and they can feel, because you know, so everybody can't handle that. Everyone can't handle that. Everyone cannot handle being all of that, you know. And there are people out here who think that they're turning it and think that they're busy, but they're not a mother, they're not a grandmother, they're not a wife, they're not an author, you know what I mean, they're not a business person. But what advice can you give that person? Because I do know there are people who do feel a little shaken by all of that, who can't handle it. You know what I mean? You know, it interferes in their marriage, it interferes in their relationship with their children, it interferes. Everything ain't always so peachy keen. You know,
Yeah.
so
I mean,
what would you say to somebody who's listening to this right now, who feels some kind of way because they're feeling so trapped, even though they feel, oh yeah, I'm blessed, but I'm trapped. I feel like I could lose all of the things that are important to me because I'm trying to do all of these things and be all of these things to everybody. Do it make sense?
it does. It does. I want to say a few things before we close out. I want to tell that woman, first of all, my life is not perfect. It's far from perfect. Um, I have had some major challenges this last year. Um, and this is for another show. I've
Mm-hmm.
had some major family challenges that have only God could have brought us through. I want you also to remember that everything you see are just snapshots of people's best lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
We only show what we want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
Social media is literally, I'm only showing you what I want you to see. But
Mm-hmm.
once this camera goes off, you know, there are other things happening. I mean, I'm thankful that I have a wonderful, wonderful marriage. But for those who don't have a wonderful marriage, or they having issues with their children, or they're not quite what they need to be, pace yourself. Take it
Mm-hmm.
one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's what I want to tell you. Every Rome wasn't built in a day. In the work that's required to cultivate these areas that are deficient, it's
Mm-hmm.
take some time, and it might take some prayer. It could take some counseling. It could
Mm-hmm.
take, again, you just kind of stepping back and balancing. Maybe there's some things you need to take away, some friendships, some some habits, and it's just self-discovery. It's rediscovering, who you are. And life is not perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. I don't care how it's portrayed. It's not perfect. It's just not. And I think Vernon, sometimes we are pints trying to be gallons. Does
Mm-hmm.
that make sense? And
I
so
saw
that
something
doesn't,
the other day. Yeah.
yeah, that's just, it's just what it is. I'm milk, you're milk, but maybe I'm only a pint.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I only have the capacity to hold, these few quarts in me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the capacity to hold what you hold.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that capacity. I'm not called to be what you're called to be.
Mm-hmm.
God made me, in this way. He stretched me far beyond capacity. And every day I feel like I failed at something.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Bishop Jake saying it. Someone asked him how was he so successful? He said, every day I just pray that I make one less person mad at me,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't be all things to all people, unfortunately. Think about all of the sacrifices he's had to make with his family, being on the road and preaching around the world, and hundreds of thousands of people, being able to be blessed by his word. But think about how his family had to suffer because he wasn't home. You know what I mean? Think
Oh,
about all of the work he had to do. It's the same way, with anybody who has multi hats that they have to wear, multiple hats. There are some areas that sometimes will suffer. There are some things that might not always line up. And so what we have to do each day is work on something different. Today I worked with Nick. Today I was with Nick all day. I was with this is a real story. I was with Nick all day, you know, and you know my challenges with that. I literally was with him all day long, and we had a great day. And I celebrated. I was just telling my husband how proud I was of him, you know, and I was thankful, you know, where he was today, you know, and so tomorrow is Pastor's Day. Tomorrow's Dante's Day. This is Dante's Day tomorrow. Okay, that is his day. When I get off here, it's his night. Okay, so I have to work on, you know, certain things, you know, throughout the day, and you know, I have to work on my ladies in my church on Friday. I said I'm gonna really focus on. I'm gonna pour into them. Like I really, you know what I'm saying. So you just gotta pace yourself, and don't be so hard on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Oh God, if I could just tell you this, I wish. If I could leave you with some closing words, ladies that are watching, be kind to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. I am so hard on myself. And that has caused me a lot of anguish and frustration because I was so hard on myself. It's part of my DNA. You know, I'm a hard worker. So and that translates to every part of everything I do. And my husband say, stop being so worked up, Kim, to relax. You know what I mean? You gotta be kind to yourself because we put so much extra pressure on ourselves. And if you take a cognizant look at your life, it probably is much better than what you actually think. You have people that wish they were in your shoes. You know what I mean? And so that's what I would tell somebody watching is just be kind. Just be cognizant that you might be a pint trying to be a gallon. Maybe you're a gallon, you know, and you're around pints, you know, and you're pouring out, you know, all of these things, and people, it's going to waste. You know, your all your giftings are just wasted. You just feel like they wasted. So you just got to make sure when you pouring that you're pouring into gallons, you know, or that you don't over pour. You know what I mean? You just got to make sure of that, and you just got to pace yourself. You can't keep comparing yourself to other people's accomplishments because you insult God. Thank you, Holy Spirit. God gave me this a long time ago, and I'm going to end on this. You insult God when you try to be somebody else. Because the Bible says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. There's no other fingerprint like yours. There's nobody else's crooked nose. I got a crooked nose like mine. There's nobody else who has the same toes that I have. There's nobody else that has the same voice inflections. There's nobody else that prays like me. It's nobody else that walks like me and talks like me. He made me just the way I am, and the way I am is fine. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And you insult God when you tell God, I'd rather be her. What? Don't ever say that. I wish I had her life. I wish I had her money. I wish I had her success. I wish I had her fame. No. You insult God when you say you want to be like somebody else, because what you're telling them, what you're saying to God is that the way he made you wasn't good enough. You have not worked with what you have.
I like that.
Goes back to the women with the jars. Work with what you have. Perfect those things that concern you. Work with what you have.
I love it.
Compare yourself to nobody else. That's what I would end.
Compare yourself to nobody else.
Nobody else. Nobody else. Nobody else. I can't be nobody else. Hard enough being me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be you. I can't pull myself in your shoes. I can't be you. I gotta be who God. I want to be the best me God wanted me to be. I want to literally stretch and expand and be everything God wants me to be. Because when they say ashes and ashes and dust to dust, I want them to say, you know what? She lived her life fully, fully. And every part of her, she was blessed. I don't want to live like nobody else. I don't want to be nobody else. I just want to be me. And that self-discovery happens daily. Daily discovering what you like. Ask yourself right now, what do you like to eat? Not your spouse. What do you like to eat? Where do you like to go? What makes you happy? What's your favorite color? service do you want to go to? Because you know some churches got 6 services and you only going because your spouse go to the early service. You don't even want to
Right.
be. What do you like to do? What do you like? Where would you like to go next? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Not your kids, not your husband. Where do you see yourself? What do you like? You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm with you.
That's self-discovery.
You better put these points on your page.
That self-discovery is
Mhm.
something that we must continue to do.
Mhm.
I do not like the same things I liked, Vernon, 5
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm a different person and I've rediscovered who that is in pandemic. So if
Yeah.
you're watching this as we end this show, first I just want to tell you, discover who you are, rediscover who you are, fall in love with that person.
Mhm.
Every part of that person, learn who he or she is. Seriously, learn who you are. And you
Mhm.
stick by that, you be the very best you can be at that. And I promise you, that's where true success will come. I appreciate this time and this opportunity to be able to share my life with you. For those of you that are watching, thank you for watching Blend with Kim Lee and Friends. I
And
was
you,
so
Kim,
blessed.
for asking me to do this.
Thank you. I was so
This
blessed
is
by you, Vernon.
But you know we need more time because we never have enough time.
We never have enough time, and we got to wrap it up because I think this program we use it only allows us an hour and it gives us a little bit of grace period. But I do want to close out with just saying thank you to all of you for watching. I appreciate this. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you make this a watch party. You can still share this with your following, share this with those that are watching. I know that there's somebody that's going to be able to get a few nuggets out of this that they can take with them and be blessed by it. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Make sure you support Black businesses. On July the 7th, we will be doing what we did a few weeks ago with the Blackout. We will be supporting Black business, but make sure you go follow my friend Vernon Martin. He has created a wonderful wig line. He has product. He is phenomenal. He has masks. He left us with some masks that I've been using, my face shields, which I absolutely love. And so we have product that we want to be able to share with you. So make sure you follow him. Make sure you support him and support Black business. God bless each of you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks, Vernon.
You're welcome.